Namaste, Sharanu Sharanarthigalu, dear learners. Welcome to SBPS online classes. Dear children, today we are going to start new lesson from NCERT class 6 our past 1 history section chapter number 8 vital villages thriving towns. Vital means active, thriving means prosperous. In the 2500 years ago, uh, the people who are living in the villages as well as in towns, they adopted various skills and new techniques in their occupations that made the development in their lifestyle. So that changed the lifestyle of the people. And we are going to discuss in this chapter what type of life was there in the villages and towns, and what is the importance of the city of Mathura. Why is the city of Arakamedu historically important? Let us begin understanding the contents from this chapter. The contents are as follows. First one, iron tools and agriculture. Second one, who lived in the villages. Third one, coins. Fourth one, cities with many functions. Fifth one, crafts and craft persons. Sixth one, a closer look, Arakamedu. So let us begin understanding the first concept from this chapter, iron tools and agriculture. Dear students, we often take the use of iron for granted today. Things made up of iron are a part of our daily lives. It means we are using the iron tools in various occupations. The use of iron began in the subcontinent around 3000 years ago. So, some of the largest collection of iron tools and weapons were found in the megalithic burials, as we talked about this matter in the chapter number 5. So, the archaeologists excavated various iron tools and weapons. So those provide various information regarding the lifestyle of the people and how the developments occurred in the agriculture and some of the field. So start with the discussion, the using of the iron tools that increased the production in the agriculture field. So which are the tools adopted by the people in the agriculture field? So start with the understanding. Around 2500 years ago, there is evidence for the growing use of iron tools. The people who are living in the villages, they were adopted the some of the iron tools in the agriculture field. Those increased the production in the crops. So these included axes for clearing the forest and iron floors in the cultivation of the irrigation field, as well as the people adopted various systems in the agriculture field. Those increased the production also. For example, the two system they were followed. One is the irrigation system, another one is the system of transplantation. So what is an irrigation? From the various sources of water with canals, wells, tanks and artificial lakes to provide the water facility to the field to increase the production. So this is called irrigation system. So irrigation was also used to increase the production other than the use of new tools. As we talked about, the new tools also invented in the agriculture field as well as the irrigation system. Next we go to the system of transplantation. So what is the system of transplantation? For example, one of the paddy crop is grown in the small field to provide the irrigation system and fertilizer to the small field. After sapling, the sapling transplantation transplanted into the large field, and again the providing or irrigation and fertilizers and pesticides for these large field. These increased the production of the agriculture of paddy. So these are the few system as well as tool invented in the agriculture, and because of these invention, they increased the agriculture production in the 2500 years ago. So another one concept we are going to understand now, who lived in the villages. There were at least three different kinds of people living in the most villages in the south part of our Indian subcontinent as well as in the north part of our Indian subcontinent. So commonly we can observe the three kinds of people in the north and south people. Those are large landowners, ordinary flowmen and landless laborers. So start with the understanding the three different kinds of people living in the south part of Indian subcontinent, especially in the Tamil region. So The large landowners were known as vellalars. The person who is holding big land in the villages, the person is called the vellalar in the Tamil region. And ordinary flowmen were known as uzavar. And the uzavars are small landowners. And landless laborers, the persons who are who not owned his land, and he is working as a labor for from the other field, the person is called the landless laborers. And these landless laborers are called the kadaisiyar. And including slaves were known as adimai in the Tamil region. So these three kinds of people were lived in the villages in the south part of our Indian subcontinent. Now we are going to talk about the north part of the subcontinent. In the villages, the village headman was known as the Grama Bojaka. The village headman was known as Grama Bojaka. Usually, men from the same family held the position for generations. Means this job is or occupation is hereditary. In other words, the post was hereditary. The Grama Bojaka was often largest landowner. Generally, he had slaves in his hand, and he had the workers to cultivate the land. So, besides, as he was powerful, the king often used him to collect taxes from the village. He also functioned as a judge and sometimes as a policeman. So, Grama Bojaka is the was the village headman. He was doing various activities in the villages. For example, he is the tax collector. He is the judge and big land owner also. And he had slaves, and he was the powerful person, and he was maintaining the peace and laws in the villages. For example, he is working as a policeman. So these are the few information regarding the Grama Bojaka. He is also one of the most powerful person in the north part of our Indian subcontinent in the all the villages. And another one person, independent farmers were known as Grahapatis. So Grahapatis were holding small land, and landless laborers were known as the Dasa Karmakara. So landless laborers are called the Dasa Karmakara, who did not own land and had to earn a living working on the fields owned by others. So in and as well as few information regarding the villages, that in the most of the villages were also some craft persons such as blacksmiths. And these persons are mainly doing work for the making the tools of with made with the iron, and potters, carpenter, and weavers. So these are few information regarding the who lived in the villages, especially the craft persons, as well as agriculturist, as well as the landless laborers. So next we go through the another one concept from this chapter, that is the earliest Tamil composition. So what is Tamil composition? So some of the earliest works in the Tamil came to be known as Sangam literature. So Tamil composition are called the Sangam literature. These earliest works were composed around 2300 years ago. So Tamil Sangam literature is the text work of the Tamil people. And these texts were called Sangam because they were supposed to have been composed and compiled in assemblies of poets. So in the king's court, all the text in front of the all the ministers, those were compiled in the assemblies of poets. So assemblies were known as Sangams. The assemblies were known as Sangams. They were held in the city of Madurai in the Tamil region. So the earliest Tamil composition is the one of the text work of the Tamil poet. Those were compiled in the king's court in front of the poets. So these were known as the Sangam literature or Tamil compositions. So in upcoming class we will cover the more contents. Until then, bye bye. Have a nice day.